Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello BookTube, welcome back or to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica and we're kicking off this week's vlog. Today is Monday and I actually have today and tomorrow off work. I have vacation days and I really need to clean my house. Like every homemaking chore you can possibly think of, I need to do this week in my house. And so I think I am going to have a quiet day at home today. Tomorrow I have some errands that I need to run, but otherwise today I am staying in and I am cleaning, and I'm going to listen to my audiobook and stuff while I clean. So let me just share with you what I'm reading right now and talk a little bit about what I might pick up when I finish what I'm currently reading. So first of all, the audiobook that I'm currently listening to is Becoming by Michelle Obama. This is her autobiography, and I'm not very far into it, maybe like 10% into it, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I am loving her sense of humor. She has really good comedic timing. So while I clean today, I will continue to listen to that audiobook. Also continuing to work through Ace by Angela Chen, What Sexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex. This is a social critical analysis about asexuality, exactly what the title says, and I am getting closer to finishing. This is a slow going book for me because I'm just reading little bits and pieces, taking my time to absorb it, think about it, digest it before I move on. I'm on page 159 and there's around 200 pages in the book. So I'm getting there, and I'll continue working on this book this week. I'm also currently reading The Keepsake by Tess Gerritsen. This is book number 7 in the Rizzoli and Isles series. This is a series that I want to get all the way through before the end of this year. It is a reread. I'm rereading it because Tess Gerritsen's new book in the series comes out in 2022 and I'm really excited about it. Tess Gerritsen is an auto-buy, auto-read author for me. I want to have all of her books in my collection, including all of her backlists. I have all of the Rizzoli and Isles books. But yeah, so this is a reread for me, and I loved it the first time that I read it. I am loving it again the second time that I'm reading it. It is about Maura, who is a medical examiner, and Jane Rizzoli, who is a police detective, and they basically throughout the series work together and solve crimes. So the premise of this particular crime is that there is an archaeologist who is using ancient mummifying techniques to hide the bodies that he kills, basically. So like they discover a mummified body, they discover a shrunken head that is a body of one of the murder victims, they discover a bog body, and so it makes this book really interesting because Maura, as a medical examiner, now has to go through a lot of scientific stuff to try to examine and do postmortems on these mummified bodies to try to learn about the crime that was committed. And it's just so fascinating. Tess Geretson is a former doctor, and so her science is so accurate, and it just adds a layer of depth and intrigue to these books that you're not going to find in any other series. I just absolutely love these books. They are my absolute favorite mystery thriller series of all time. I think I could reread this whole series every year till my dying days and never get tired of it. They bring me so much joy. The characters are so wonderful. I want to be Maura Isles when I grow up. And so yes, I am 159 pages into this, which is about a third of the way through. All right, after I finish any of these, let me share with you what I'm planning on picking up next. After I finish The Keepsake, I have like 3 books checked out from the library right now that I want to get through. Okay, I love using my library, but it stresses me out managing due dates, especially when it's like a new book, because there's always someone who has it on hold and I can't like renew it. So it's like you have to read it within that time frame, and like it stresses me out so much because like a hold will come available and then you've got all these other books already planned to read that you then have to set aside. And then like I'm doing a buddy read that I need to plan around. So I'm feeling a little stressy about what I read after Tess Gerritsen. But it's going to be like one of the following lists. So Natural Thorn Killer. I don't remember the author's name. We'll put it on the screen up here. But this is a buddy read I'm doing as part of the Killing Time with Cozy Mystery Book Club. And I need to have that done by the 15th of this month. I have One of Us is Lying. Why am I not remembering author names right now? I think it's Catherine McManus is the author of One of Us is Lying. So the premise of this one is that a group of high school kids all get detention, somebody dies, like it's kind of like the Breakfast Club plus murder is the sense that I'm getting from it. Sounds really, really interesting. That is a hold that came available this week. I also have my hold of The Guest List by Lucy Foley that came available this week, which is sort of an Agatha Christie-esque thriller where people are invited to a party, there is a murder. Kind of like Clue, if you've ever seen Clue the movie. Sounds very similar, and I love Clue, so I think I'm gonna really like that. And then the third one, like my third hold that became available, is The Hollowplaces by Kingfisher, which is a horror thriller about, as far as I know, a family that finds like a secret room or something in a house. I don't know. I just remember when I heard the synopsis of The Hollowplaces, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I want to read that so badly. And now that I'm here talking to you, I can't even remember what it's about. But so those are the books that I might end up reading after Tess Geretson. I need to just sit down, look at the due dates, look at the due date for my buddy read, look at the page numbers, look at how many days I have between the due dates, and then just plan out a schedule that way. I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to handle this in my brain without like stressing over it. I want to enjoy what I read. I don't want to stress over it. Darn libraries and their due dates. So anyway, that's what I'm reading this week, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to cleaning. So when I was watering my garden today, I noticed some blossom end rot on some of my tomatoes. And from what I've read, this most commonly happens with like your first tomatoes when your plants don't have enough calcium. And so a common way to treat this is to crush up some Tums in water and to water your tomato plants with that, because Tums is basically calcium. So I'm going to give this a try. Cooking dinner. I'm making sweet and sour chicken for dinner. Let me show you. I feel so at peace today. It's been so nice having this time away from work, and like puttering around the house and getting some chores done has just been such a blessing, because I had been putting a lot of stuff off. That last week of work there was a doozy. Anyway, I did get the Tums in the tomatoes. If any of you have advice on blossom end rot in tomatoes, do let me know in the comments down below. I'm fairly new on this homesteading journey of mine. I started in 2017 actively working to homestead.
my end goal, like dream goal, is to have a little bit of land, like not a lot, but enough land and a house to have a big garden and a prairie restoration area for pollinators. I would like to keep chickens, and I want a big old goldfish pond. And then a house that has like bedrooms, a guest bedroom, an office, that kind of thing. That's like end goal for me. I don't necessarily want a farm. Like, I don't want a big operation with like cows and goats and that kind of thing. Like, I would be completely blissed out in a little plot of land with a garden, a pollinator garden, a goldfish pond, and chickens. Like, that is my dream. Got another lovely day in the garden here. It is so hot today. Anyway, I have to go pick up a prescription refill on my cat's thyroid medicine. And so since I'm going to be out, I decided to also go to this antique store that I really like, because they sell these wax melts that are like the best wax melts I've ever found. So hopefully they still carry them. So I'm going to take you along. It's a really cute antique store, and they always have like just like a bunch of curiosities and oddities and gadgets and gizmos, and so I thought it'd be fun to share.
friends, I have a reading update for you. You might be seeing cat butt in the video. This is Pie. She has some thoughts. Date? I finally finished it. I've been reading this since the first week of June. I finally finished Ace by Angela Chen, and this is a gem of a book. It is so well done. One term that she writes about that is interesting to me is the term of the queer platonic partner, which in the past has been called like a Boston marriage. And I love that new phrase. I feel like it is a new way to think about relationships and a new way to identify relationships. Basically, overall, her exploration of sexuality and asexuality and relationships and romance or aromance really restructures and reframes what relationships mean and what sexuality means within a relationship. And it will change the way you think about love and romance. Like, it just really will. It is such a fantastic book. Highly recommend it. 5 stars out of 5. I am also close to being finished with The Keepsake by Tess Gerritsen. I've only got 98 and some pages to go. I'll probably be able to finish it tonight, actually. Loving this. Again, Tess Gerritsen has talked about in interviews how one of her things or concepts or ideas she likes to explore in her books is the origins of evil. What is evil? How is evil defined? Why do people do evil things? Are people evil? And in this book, it is exploring a couple of ways of thinking about evil. One is the intergenerational evil, looking at how evil can sometimes be passed down in a family, looking at how evil is out there and how people that we see every day could be doing really evil things without us knowing it, and how you never know what people are really doing. So just that idea of that the neighbor next door who seems perfectly polite being a serial killer kind of thing. And that's really like when she's exploring the nature of evil in this book, that's what she's looking at. She also has brought back Anthony Sansoni, which I'm really happy about. I couldn't remember from my first read through if he was a recurring character or not, but he is introduced in the 6th book called The Mephisto Club, and he's one of my favorite characters. I'm really happy that he is brought back in this novel. And the Mephisto Club is brought back up again, which is another kind of direction she takes in exploring evil, because the Mephisto Club believes that evil is like this supernatural, almost like a virus, like it's a supernatural thing that infects humans, and they've kind of traced movements of evil throughout history. So that is all built into her mysteries that take place. Like the police procedural is here in this story, but then intertwined throughout this series is just this larger discussion of the origins of evil. So I do think this will probably be a 3 out of 5 star read, which is good. Like a 3-star rating for me is a good rating. I will still recommend it. And I don't know, I don't remember how this one ends, so maybe the ending will kick it up a notch. We shall see. Another update, I have butterflies on the way. So all 10 of my caterpillars made it to the chrysalis stage, and yesterday I got them into the habitat. So hopefully we'll have 10 healthy butterflies here soon, and I can do a better release video for you.
Howdy. I finished. My dogs are playing. It's so cute. I finished The Keepsake yesterday. Where are you? Look. This lighting is just terrible. It's a little better. A very messy house at the moment. Finished it. And wow. There are so many twists and turns in this ending. I realize now why I couldn't remember how it ends, because it would be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Everything's resolved. But wait, there's another twist. And that happens probably 4 or 5 times before everything is actually resolved. It is so twisty and turny, but it was really, 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 really good. I absolutely loved it. I am going to bump my rating up. My first time reading it, I gave it 3 stars, but this time, like the intricacy of all of those twists, bumping it up to a 4-star. Not quite a 5-star read, because there was a moment in here that I just didn't think was necessary. I feel like it was just Tess Geretsen's reach at getting more and more involved in the story. So these stories kind of rotate between focusing more on Maura or focusing more on Jane in a particular story. This one definitely focused more on Jane, and I feel like she kind of threw a Hail Mary towards the end to try to get more and more involved, and it didn't seem to really fit with the rest of the book. And so because of that, it's not a 5-star, but definitely a 4-star. Super fun read. Highly recommend this series. Happy Sunday morning. My plan for today is to do laundry and housework. Possibly plant my rose in the butterfly garden. I'm having some joint pain today, so that might not be something that I tackle today. Water changes for the goldfish. And I'm going to make that recipe that's been going around TikTok where you take a block of feta and tomatoes and olive oil and bake it and then just like stir pasta in. I've grown 3 pounds of cherry tomatoes, for my cherry tomato plant that I have in the bucket garden. And so I'm going to use my fresh cherry tomatoes, my fresh garlic, my fresh basil, all from the garden. And oh, it's going to be delicious, I think. So I'm going to make that for dinner. And in between all of this, I will be taking breaks to read, and while I'm doing chores and whatnot, listening to my audiobooks. So that's the plan for Sunday.
Hello all, it is Monday. I'm on my lunch break, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this week's vlog. It's hot. Oh my, it's hot. I much prefer fall and winter to spring and summer. I've grown to love spring and summer because of gardening, but man, I don't deal well with heat. Whew. So this week, last night I finished One of Us is Lying by Karen and McManus, and I absolutely loved it. Oh my goodness, I couldn't put that book down yesterday. It was so good. So something that was interesting about this book is it is loosely based on The Breakfast Club, the film. They even make a reference to it in one of the first scenes, and one of the main characters in the detention says something along the lines of, well, you're a jock and you're a princess and you're something else. Basically, the different archetypes that they have in the Breakfast Club are in this book, and they talk about those archetypes in the Breakfast Club too. But what I liked about this book is that the characters didn't stay archetypes. They started out as archetypes, but they were fleshed out into much more depth as the story went along. And I grew to really care about the characters. I loved their evolution, and the mystery of it was really interesting, very contemporary to the times of how that might actually end up happening in a high school in today's world. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. The pacing was perfect, characters well developed. It was like a mashup of The Breakfast Club meets Gossip Girl meets Pretty Little Liars. And I absolutely loved it. 4 stars out of 5. I'm dying. All right, let's go through what I read this week. I don't have it up here with me, but the first book that I finished was The Keepsake by Tess Geretsen. I gave that 4 stars out of 5. The second book that I finished is One of Us is Lying by Karen and McManus. Also gave that 4 stars out of 5. Books that I am still reading are Becoming by Michelle Obama. I'm listening to this on audiobook. I'm about halfway through. I am also reading Wicked Intentions by Elizabeth Hoyt. I'm only like 30 pages into this. And I will continue reading it next week if you want to watch next week's vlog and see more of my thoughts on this one. And then lastly, I finished Ace by Angela Chen, which is a phenomenal book. Highly recommend it. 5 stars out of 5. And then picked up Pathological Altruism edited by Barbara Oakley. And I'm very much enjoying this book as well. I am going to do a separate single book review on this, so that will be forthcoming, but I'll continue talking about it in next week's vlog as well. That'll do it for this week's vlog. If you've made it this far, leave a firework down in the chat and let me know if there's anything you want to talk about in those comments below. Until next week, make sure to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.